Good morning, students. Today I am going to start a new chapter, chapter number 7. Ivan tries Ivan tries an O level. That is one story about Ivan from book Vistas, chapter number 7. The writer is the name of the writer is Colin Dexter. Okay, so uh, this is before you read the story, just keep in mind this question. So the criminals in prison be given the opportunity of learning and education. Now the story is about the prisoner and how the education and learning opportunity is given to them, and how Ivan has given the uh, how he has escaped from the from the prisoner, and how he misused this opportunity. So this is the story about that. So let me talk about the author. So the author name is Colin Baxter, who was born in 29 September 1930, and he was died in 21st March 2017. And he was an English crime writer known for his Inspector Morse series of novels. This is a novel in which there is a series which were written between 1975 to 1999, and it was also adapted as a TV series. Okay, so let me tell you about the introduction of the lesson. The story Ivan Tries an O level is about a cunning prisoner whose name is Ivan, who makes a plan to escape from prison on the day of his German language O-level exam. This is the exam name. And the jail authorities, on the other hand, are ready to cover up any sort of risk. And the story tells us, will he able to succeed in his escape or not? So that we are going to look in this story. So this is one dramatic persona. So the secretary of the examination board, the governor of HM prison Oxford, James. Well, these are the characters. James Evans, a prisoner. Okay. Then Mr. Jackson, a prisoner officer. Mr. Stephen, a prisoner officer. A reverend and McLeary, an investigation, who is a priest. Mr. Carter, detective and superintendent. Mr. Van, who is the detective chief inspector. So these are the characters in the story we can see. Okay. All precautions have been taken to see to it that O-level German examination arranged in the prison for Evans does not provide him with any means of escape. Now, this is the conversation between the governor and the secretary of the examination board, and they were talking on a phone, and what they are talking. So this is the let's start line by line explanation. It was in early March when the secretary of the examination board received a call from Oxford prison. So the name of the prison when Ivan was is the Oxford prison, and in the early March, the secretary of the examination got a call from Oxford prison. It is slightly unusual request, Governor, but I don't see why we shouldn't try to help. Just the one fellow you say. Now here the secretary, that the examination secretary, and the Oxford prisoner, the governor, they were talking on the phone, and they are making a request that the Oxford prisoner, that is the Ivan, for personal case, that they want one request, and which is unusual. And just one fellow, you say, for one fellow they are asking or requesting for examination. So the secretary of examination board is saying that it is unusual request, because for one person how can we arrange one exam? Okay, that's it. Jack called Ivan started night classes in O-level German last September. Says he is that keen to get some source of academic qualification. Now, why they are arranging the exam because there is one chap. Chap means one person, one man whose name is Ivan and who had started his German level classes, O level classes from last September. And he was keen interested in this subject and to get an academic qualification in his qualification list. Is he any good? Is he good in study? He was the only one in the class, so you can say he would have individual tuition all the time really. Would have cost him a package if he would be been outside. Now you just imagine that how he is interested because there are so many prisoners, but only Ivan was the only person, individual that who is taking the class of German, and this is very costly. It will send him outside for any tuition. Well, let's give him a chance, shall we? Now they both were talking about that this is the keen. He was very keen interested in the study and in a sort of academic qualification. Please let's give one chance, shall we? That's jolly kind of you. What exactly the procedure now? Now it's a really funny thing that for one person we are arranging examination. So what is the exactly procedure now? Oh, don't worry about that. I will be sending you all the forms and stuff. What's his name? You say. Now, the governor, the secretary of the examination board said that you don't worry, I'll send you all the stuff and the forms. You just tell me what is his name. And he says, Ivan, Jax Roderick Ivan. It sounded rather grand. Now, the governor is saying that his name is Jax Roderick Ivan. Because whenever you are writing any form, you have to write out the full name. Just one thing, governor. Now, the examination secretary was asking one thing I would like to ask. He is not a violent sort of fellow, is he? I want to ask him that is he a violent fellow or a very calm boy? I don't want to know his criminal record or anything like that. But the secretary says that I don't want to know that what is his criminal record, but I just want to know that is he a calm person or he is a very violent and aggressive? No, there is no record of violence. Quite a pleasant sort of chap. They tell me. Now he said that this is a very calm person, very pleasant chap, and there is no record of violence. Beat of a card. Really? One of the stars at the Christmas concert and imitations, the sort of things. Now, card means he is a funny man and he is in one Christmas concert. He was imitating some sorts of things and he was imitating one comedian and whose name is Mike Yarwood Stuff. So he was a very jolly person and in a Christmas concert he was imitating the sorts of Mike Yarwood Stuff who is a comedian. So no, he's just a congenital. Congenital means in nature or inherited. Now, this is just one thing that is inherent in him, and that is the uh, cap, capto, captomanic. Captomania is one type of, I have written here, captomania is one type of disease, or you can say that one sort of mind when a very strong wish to steal that you cannot control. Sometimes it happens that we cannot resist some of the things, and that is called kleptomania. And this Ivan is kleptomanic. Means a person suffering from kleptomania means he can't resist or he can't control his stealing habit. Okay, that's all. So he's saying that this is the only thing that we come to know about Ivan. The governor was tempted. Tempted means have a urge to do something and add something else, but he thought better of it. Now, as a governor, we would like to add something and do something good for the Ivan. He would look after that particular side of things in Going further, presumably, said the secretary, you can arrange a room where presumably means to assume, to believe, right? Whatever you are saying, that I believe, the secretary is saying that you can arrange a room where now he stopped here. You can arrange one room, no problem. He's in a cell on his own. In a means he said that there is no need to arrange any room. Right now he is in a prison, and in that cell we can arrange the exam. If you have no objection, we can sit the exam in there. Now he says that if you don't mind that we can give him that the cell, and in which in that particular cell he can write his exam. Then the secretary said that's fine, that's okay. Now he agreed with this, and we could easily get one of the parsons from St. Mary's Magdalene to invigilate if that. Now the secretary is saying that because if you are giving the exam, there must be the invigilator. Invigilator means supervisor, or invigilate means supervisor. There must be a supervisor, and for that they will send one parson. Parson means one priest. In Christianity we have a priest, so that is a parson from St. Mary Max. So that is the full St. Mary's Magdalene, a church in England. So he will send that parson. Fine, yes. They seem to have a lot of parsons there, don't they? Now they are saying that there are lots of parsons in St. Mary's Magdalene's church. So one of them will come. The two men chucked good naturally, and the secretary has a final thought. Now they have ended that talk, and there was a final thought. At least there is one thing, you shouldn't have much trouble keeping him incommunicado, should you? Now only one thing that the secretary was asking. Incommunicado means not able to or allowed to communicate with other people. Now only one thing you have to be clear, that while examination is going on, you are not allowed him to talk with or to communicate with others. Should you? Now can you do this thing? The governor Chuck laughed quietly, and he was politely once more re- uh, reiterated his thanks and slowly cradled the phone. Now he was laughing. This is the thing, natural thing, that when you are giving examination, you are not supposed to speak or communicate with others. So now he repeated his thanks. Now thank you, said, and slowly cradled the phone. Now placed back the phone on the place. Okay? Evans the Break, as the prison officer called him. Now his name is given by the other officer, and the name was Evans the Break. Now why the name is given? Later you can get the answer. Thrice he would escape from the prison. That's why it was saying that Ivan the Break. Now he was escaped from the prison from thrice. Thrice means three times, but for the recent wave of unrest in the minimum security establishment of North. He wouldn't now be gracing the government's premises in Oxford, and the governor was going to make absolutely certain that he would be disgracing them. Now, but for the recent wave of unrest in the maximum security establishment, so because he was escaped for thrice or three times, that's why in the building there was such type of setting was there in up north. There was in up north, then he wouldn't now be gracing. Gracing means bring honor or someone by one's attendance or participants, the governor's premises in Oxford. Now he was unable to escape from these premises. Premises means the building. And the governor was going to make absolutely certain that he wouldn't be disgracing them. Now the governor had that much trust, or they are very certain and very sure that this time he is not going to disgrace. Disgrace means, that is, I told you, that brings dishonor to the governor, this governor. Not that Evans was a real burden, just a persistent, nagging presence. Now, Evans was not a burden, for real burden, but he was just a persistent. Persistent means continuous, or nagging means irritation. Now, sometimes many people are irritating you. So, nagging means irritating presence, because his presence is very irritating, and continuous irritation was that. He would be all right in Oxford, though the governor would see to that would see to it personally. Now he was all right in Oxford, so that's why this is good for them to stay in Oxford. And besides, there was just a possibility that Evans was genuinely interested in O-level German exam. Now, there was another one doubt that whether he was really or genuinely truly interested in exam or not, because everybody was not having that so they are not certain about his interest in O-level German exam. Just a slight possibility. There was just a slight possibility. Maybe he was not interested, or maybe he was. There was one doubt in the governor's eyes, just a very slight possibility that he maybe used this opportunity to escape from the prison. At 8:30 p.m. on Monday, 7th June, Ivan's German teacher shook him by the hand. The heavily guarded recreational block just across from the way. Now, this time at 8:30 p.m. on Monday, June, his German teacher shook his hand, who came to meet him, to wish him, and who was came from the leaving, the building, from the prison. Bullet glove. Bullet glove is a German language whose meaning is good luck. Here means German language word for Mr. Evans. Now that the German teacher came and he said bullet glove. Here Evans means good luck, Mr. Evans. Now here he said that pardon. Pardon. That's why we are using pardon when we didn't hear the words which was spoken while we are speaking with each other, that we are making a request to repeat that what you did, what you said. I said good luck for tomorrow. Now then he again, when he said pardon, that he spoke in German, so he said that good luck for tomorrow. Now you just imagine that he was going to give the exam of O-level German, and at least he didn't understand the German language which was spoken by the German teacher. So, oh, thanks, Air. I mean, Air, thanks, Sejong. Now, thanks, Sejong means German language word for thank you, and very much for thank you kindly. Now, you haven't a cat in hell's chance of getting through, of course, but. Now, the teacher says that this is the meaning, this is a proverb, and the meaning of it is that to be completely unable to achieve something. Now, here the teacher come to know that it is impossible for him, that he can able to achieve the O-level German exam, means he is unable to pass this O-level German exam because he didn't understand this simple German language. Okay, next. I may surprise everybody, said Evans, and Evans was very confident, and he said that maybe I'll pass this exam and I will surprise all of you. At 8:30 the following morning, Evans had a visitor, and at 8:30 there was one visitor, two visitor in fact, not only one visitor, two visitor. He tucked means pushed his grubby string vest into his equally grubby trouser and stood up from his bunk smiling cheerfully. Now he tucked means push, grubby means dirty. Now he was very dirty man, and his equally grubby trouser. His trouser was very dirty, and stood up from his Bunk means narrow bed attached to the wall. So he was in a prison in a cell, and two men visited him. And when he came, he stood up, and he was looking very dirty and grubby, right? And he was smiling cheerfully, and he said, "Morning, Mr. Jackson. This is indeed an honor." He wished morning, Mr. Jackson, who is the governor or who is the authority of the prison, and he said that this is a very good honor that you came here to meet me. Jackson was the senior prison officer on D-Wing. And right now, the Jackson was a, prison officer on D-Wing, and he and Ivan had already become warm enemies. Now, before that, Jackson was also a prison officer here, and that is why Jackson and Ivan both are enemies. And at Jackson's side stood Officer Stephen. And there was one another officer. I told you the two visitors. So one is Jackson, who was the former prison officer, and the Stephens, who is the right now, the today right now officer, prison officer. Burly means large and strong man. Shortly means bad tempered, surely looking man, only recently recruited to the profession. Now he was recently recruited in this profession. Jackson nodded curtly. Curtly means shortly. And how's our little Einstein this morning? Then Jackson was taunting him by calling him Einstein. He said that, "How are you, Einstein? Wasn't Ian mathematics, Mr. Jackson?" Now, that Ivan says that E.N. Einstein, don't you know that Einstein is a mathematician? And Mr. Jackson, I think Einstein was a Jew, Mr. Jackson. And he said that Einstein was a mathematician and he was a Jew. Ivan's face was unshaven. Unshaven means his face was not shaved, and he wore a filthy looking red and white bobble hat upon his, and he was wearing very dirty bubble hat on his head. "Give me a chance, Mr. Jackson. I was just going to shave when you burst in." Now he was saying that when you came inside, I was going to shave my beard. So let me go. Which reminds me, Jackson turned his eyes on Stephen, and Jackson was not turned his eyes from the Stephens. Here you can see that this is Mr. Jackson, and here this is the Ivan. You can see that the hat and the beard is also. Make sure you take his razor out of the cell when he has finished scraping that ugly mug of his. Here now, Stefan Jackson was telling the Stephens, that is the new recruiter prison officer. He said that whenever he finished his shaving, please take out that razor that is scraping means remove the shaving. Ugly mug. Ugly mug means a person's face of his. Here you just take out that razor when he finished his shaving. Is it clear? One of these days he will do us all a favor, cut his bloody throat. Now he is saying that maybe he can give us a very favor, maybe cut his bloody throat. Maybe he cut his own throat also. For a few seconds, Ivan looks thoughtfully at the man standing ramrod straight in front of him. A string of Second World War medal proudly paraded over his left breast pocket. Now here Ramrod means a strict supervisor. Now he was thoughtfully looking at this Jackson, and he was standing Ramrod. Now here he was standing beside a wall. He was just like a string of Second World War medal and paraded. Parad means lined over his left breast pocket. Now here you can see that he was left breast pocket वाला यहाँ पे line है. "Mr. Jackson, was it you who looked like took my nail scissors away?" Now he was saying that Is that the you that who took my nail cutter away from this room? Ivan had always worried about his hands. I was also talking about his hands and your nail file too. And look, for a moment, Ivan's eyes all smoldered dangerously, but Jackson was ready for him. Now he come to know that where is his nail cutter, and at time Ivan's eyes were smoldered. Smoldered means glowed with anger. He was getting angry and dangerously. He was looking dangerously towards the Jackson. But Jackson was ready for him. But Jackson was a very strict person and he said he was also ready to fight with him. Order of the governor, Evans. He leaned forward and leered, his voice dropping to a hard, contemptuous whisper. Now he said that it was the governor's order. That's why I took out your nail cutter and he leaned. Leaned means he was bent. See, he bent inside the cell and leered. Leered means watch, means stared at him, and his voice was very harsh and contemptuous. Contemptuous means disrespectful whisper. You want to complain? Now, do you want to complain for that also? Ivan shrugged his shoulders lightly. Disregard means he was dismisses. Now, sometimes we are talking with him, but we show disrespect from our body language. The crisis was over, and he said that the crisis now over. You have got half an hour to smarten yourself, even and make that bloody hat off. Now he said that you have half an hour to smart yourself. So you can take your take out your beard and you can be smart and take that bloody hat off and this, please take off, take it down your bloody hat. Me at Ivan put his right hand lovingly on top of the 50 bullet and smiled sadly. Do you know, Mr. Jackson, it is the only thing that's ever brought me any sort of luck in my life. So he said that sprightly in a loving saying and with smiling says that, do you know this is the only thing that is he was talking about had that it gives me the love in my life. Now sometimes we think that this is if this thing is with me, then it brings good luck to me. Kind oh lucky charm. If you know that I mean, and today I thought, well, with me, exam and all that. Now it's a lucky charm for me, and today I am going to give my exam. So I think today I thought, well, me, exam and all that. Now he dropped the sentences that. Buried somewhere in Jackson was a tiny core of compassion, and Ivan knew it. Now, inside that, Jackson was very good person, and there is some compassion for Ivan, and Ivan knew it. Just this once, that Shirley Temple, if there was one thing that Jackson genuinely loathed about Ivan, it was his long, very hair and get saving. Now, the Jackson didn't like that look, and he said that you have to get, please get wavy hair to get saving as soon as possible. At 8:45 the same morning, the Reverend Stark McLeary left his bachelor flat in Broad Street and stepped out briskly towards Carfax. Now here there was one Reverend the Stott McLeary left his bachelor flat. He left his flat and came out to briskly towards Carfax. The weatherman reported temperatures considerably below the normal for early June, and a long black overcoat and a sallow-crowned clerical hat provided welcome protection from the steady drizzle which had set in half an hour earlier, which now spattered the thick lenses of his spectacles. Now, because of the weatherman reported the temperature, he took all the precautions that he took the black overcoat and a sallow crowned clerical hat provided welcome protection from steady drizzle. So he also have that hat and sat in half an hour earlier. and he also came earlier because maybe because of the weather he was stuffed, and which now spectred the thick lenses of his spectacles, and he also has the spectacle with the thick lenses. In his right hand, he was carrying a small brown suitcase. Now, in right hand, there was a suitcase which contained all that he would need for his morning duties, including a sealed question paper envelope, a yellow investigator form, a special authentication card from the examination board, a paper knife, a Bible. He was to speak to the woman's guild that afternoon on the book of Ruth and the current copy of the church time. Now there was one suitcase, brown suitcase, and there were everything was there which is needed in his duty. For example, paper envelope, question paper envelope, yellow investigator form, and authentication card, that this is the authentication that I came from the secretary of examination board. Everything is in, and he, as he was a priest, there was a Bible, and he was reading the chapter of book of Ruth and woman guild that afternoon, and he was reading this chapter from the book and a current copy of Church Times, and Church Times, that is one magazine that he took with him in this suitcase, brown suitcase. Okay, so we'll stop this, and in next video I'll give you the part number 2 of Ivan's chapter number 7. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Take care.